Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Relocate with Nat. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, I am joined by Ivette, who is not here in the DR yet. She is you're near Orlando, right, Ivette?
Orlando area,
Yes. Yeah,
Central
she's in
Florida.
exactly, Central Florida. But I wanted Yvette and I to have this conversation because she is planning on coming back to the DR, which is her native country. And I just thought it was really interesting that she's going to be relocating back to her, what we call the homeland, right? For you. So
Yes,
Yvette,
it
thank
is.
you. Thank you for coming and joining me today. Um, I meet so many people that are living here already, but you and your family have decided that it's time to come back. So what instigated that?
Where maybe, first of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you very
It's my
much for
pleasure.
having
Yeah.
me, and hi to everybody. I'm gonna be honest. For I believe that for every Dominican or maybe every Latino, it's always that little piece that you take with you and you want to come home.
Yeah.
And you are responsible of home and the people that you left behind. The proof of that is when you go into what is international transactions, one of the major income in the Dominican Republic, is coming through Western Union, Vimenca, and all that. And it goes through their family or to personal projects that they want to develop for when they are retired, or maybe when they come and visit their family and friends.
Of course, yes.
So in the in and out, loving the North Coast, even though I'm from the capital, yo soy capitaleña, I am from the city. The North Coast has always represented something magical for me
Mm,
because it's you put together too many things. You put fun, you put activity, you put also productivity, and you have that sense of countryside, but at the same time a little touristy, but not that touristy, if you know what I mean.
yeah, absolutely. And the tourism is definitely like we're living it right now because it is we're in mid-February, so it's high season. So we are
Yes.
experiencing high volume of tourists or snowbirds as we would say.
Yeah.
Um, but what is like fueling you to so you guys have land you've decided to build.
Yes, we bought a house. We are in the process of remodeling, and because obviously my husband's family is from the North Coast, from Cabarete. So every time we go to the Dominican Republic, we visit my mom in the capital, and then we go all the way up to stay at Cabarete, enjoy the rest of the family. And he's a surfer, and obviously for us it's very involving getting there, getting with los primos, what we call the cousins, eating and
Yeah.
having fun, and at the same time getting to see how Cabarete has been growing has pulled us to start pursuing the coming back. I would like it to be yesterday. I'm going to be honest. I would like it to be yesterday, but it takes a time when you have
Yes,
businesses in this other side of the planet and you have kids, you have to put it together.
you have
But yes,
life, yeah.
yes, but hopefully we're getting there soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things I guess everyone should know is that Yvette and I met online. She was following my relocation, my welcome to my world. And that's how we connected and became friends because I consider you a friend.
Thank
And
you.
she's shared a lot with me about Dominican culture, about what it's like to be here. And I don't think it's any different from any other country, right? When you say I'm coming back to visit Les Primos, like we all do the same thing if we go back to our native countries. But one of the things you shared with me the last time was like this history that your husband's family has, right? With land and how all that came about. And I would love you to share that because I think that is part of what I want to bring to people who are watching is that relocating it means something different for everybody. But for you, I think it means something even bigger since you are looking at land that belonged to family, right? And that's been reclaimed.
Yes. Well, I'm gonna be honest. When you come to America, any any country that you come to America, I'm not only saying the Dominican Republic, I'm not only saying Jamaica, um, you name it, you have to understand that we were conquered, that we were, honestly, for me, invaded, and we were drained as a whole continent. So, needed to say that you cannot stop that from one hand to the other one. So, for instance, in our case, that is not the only scenario. We do have a family, like generations and generations and generations before, that are related to the Kingsley family. And if you go back to history, the Kingsley family, it's under the one of the traders and exports of slaves that came from Ireland to the islands, bringing slavery. And obviously, he decided to establish in the Hispaniola, what we know as Dominican Republic, because what he wanted to pursue in North America, let's say in the Florida Peninsula, he wasn't able to do so. So if you go back to Cabarete and you go back to history, you get to know that there is people, they have the last name of Kingsley. So that family, then they have their land, then obviously things happen, everybody knows the story about dictatorship, Trujillo taking land from people, obviously not a nice way. And then from there, you get to know that there is people fighting back those lands, and it's having the opportunity to gain them back. It has been hard because obviously it's like robbing from a robber, that rob a robber.
Yeah.
But
It's
at the end
breaking
of the
the
day,
cycle, breaking the
yeah.
cycle. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's giving us results. Being
Yeah.
one of the results, us having the opportunity to own a little piece of land in Cabarete, a little
Yeah.
one,
A
but
little
at
one.
least a little one.
Yeah.
But obviously putting it together and helping our family along, because obviously they can go ahead and develop that kind of land back there and make it productive for anybody else that needs it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with me, because I think people sometimes forget, like we forget where we actually are. And I love giving this information to people and telling people about, the areas and the significance of it, right? It's not enough.
Yes.
And I think I'm not sure if I told you the story or not, but I did share it on social media probably a couple weeks ago, that I met some folks here in Cabarete. I'm going to be doing some work at Inspire DR, which is the community center for boys. And I made the comment that I'm a guest in this country, and I feel um, like I'm not entitled to things just because I'm here and I'm spending money. I'm a guest. And the two ladies that were at the desk were quite shocked to hear what I was saying, that they've never heard anybody say this before. And we sometimes forget, we get really settled into our lives and things, and we forget that this is not ours. We're kind of like borrowing it, right, while we're here. So and I'm glad that I get to borrow it, because I get to sit out in this beautiful patio with the greenery behind me and
Yes.
the warm weather. But tell me, and I love asking this question to people who come up. So you've shared little snippets why, you love Cabarete, but what are some of the things that, really light you up when you come here? You're like, oh, yes, this
Okay.
is why we're here. What are those things that light you up?
I'm gonna be honest. I like the people.
Okay.
That's number one. I
Yeah.
do like obviously the beaches. That's wonderful. But you can also have nice beaches if you go to Mexico. You can have nice beaches if you go to Jamaica. But as Dominican, one of the things that really uh, it's inviting for me, it's the generosity, the people that
Mm,
it's open to. Obviously, there's good and bad in everywhere, but most of
yes.
that you can find that everywhere. But
Yeah.
the way the Dominicans are really inviting. And if you go to the countryside, that's when you get that. When they find that little cup of coffee and they put it together nicely for you to make you feel
Yeah.
welcome. When they help you out with the bag crossing the street, and they're not doing it for money, they're doing it because they're helping you
That's what you
out.
do. Yeah.
So the Dominicans, Latinos are really welcoming, but the Dominicans, I guess, especially, they go that extra mile, and
Yeah.
they make you feel comfortable. I come from the city. I'm gonna be honest. In the city, you don't have the same response when you go to the countryside. Nothing against to the East Coast, but the East Coast that is more developed and it has been blooming since a long time is more of already people. It's nice and whatever, but it's not the same as the North Coast. It's still like country.
The warmth isn't the
Yes,
same. Yeah,
it's
I
different.
understand.
And then obviously, if you go to the South region, and I can openly talk about it because I know the entire island. I even know Haiti. Um, when you go to the South, people is more skeptical, but it's normal because they right now they don't have nothing developed the same way as the
Yeah,
East Coast or the North Coast. But
yeah,
the North Coast, because we have the Cibao region there, everybody's willing to bring that cup of coffee, share the
yeah,
sandals with you, find you a towel.
yeah.
And are you hungry? Everybody's wanting to know if you're hungry to make you something, to bring you something so you can eat something.
Yes, of
It's
course, of course. Food, but food, I think, is like a global thing, right? Food is something that we all identify with. So I love that. And I mean, let's be honest, is there a bad beach anywhere? I mean, in any place? I don't think so. But it's true that the North Coast, there is something special about the beaches here. The wind, like it's never hot, meaning you go to the beach, there's always a beautiful breeze on the Atlantic coast. Um, it it is special, and our heart was captivated as soon as we arrived here. But in that same token, what are the things that drive you nuts when you come back here? You're like, really? Is this happening?
um um uh, I how can I say, maybe is that here where I am right now, even though I am really well in terms of we have our own business, we have our home, and we are in a very nice area. I'm not a millionaire or anything like that, but being in a nice spot where you have doctors, pharmacies, supermarkets closed, and everything is clean and ready to go, you feel good when you're a mom and when you have kids and when you need
Yeah,
to put together things at home. But obviously, seeing all the things that are being seen lately is not something that motivates me. Like, it doesn't,
mm,
there's that little thing like, okay, these kids, they're going to a good school, they're learning, but they are not interacting. They are not like, okay, they have good grades, they're wonderful, they're healthy, but you want them to be more involved. And
yeah,
that's something that the North Coast, Cabarete, Samana, you name it, is allowing people to do,
yeah,
because there are communities that are even developed and people are able to mix up work from home and go to the beach, manage themselves and go surfing. And I
yeah,
would like my kids to have that experience, to touch people, to talk to people, to interact, because
yeah,
technology is wonderful and you can
yeah.
get a lot of benefits out of it, but it's not the same as getting in touch with a human being. Never is the same.
100%, 100%. So, but when you do come back here and you visit, what are the things that shock you sometimes still? Or you're like, really? Is this going on? Are we doing
Uh,
this right now? What are those things that drive you crazy about your own country?
Bureaucracy.
Yeah. Really, you think the bureaucracy here is
It was
tedious?
fast for us. Everything in Cabarete is really
Yeah.
easy going, and they put it together. But when I mean bureaucracy, for terms of people that want to go ahead and invest,
Okay.
so sometimes they want to go ahead and have an account. Uh, Getting to do the things then the way that it needs to be done, you have
Yeah.
to too many steps. I
Yeah.
believe,
Okay.
yeah. So I
For
believe
some
that,
things, yeah.
yeah, you have to go to the bank, you have to make a line, you have to sit, you have to prove, you have to find this paper, and then it's like, seriously, if you have your cedula, if you have your ID, and if you're a Dominican, things should flow like regularly. But
Okay. Yeah.
no, for us, even though we are Dominicans, and even though we have cedula, and even if we have our birth certificate that says that we are Dominicans, there's a lot to prove for us to do anything.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the driving, you're okay with the driving because most people I chat
Oh,
with,
well,
they think that driving's crazy.
no, driving is, I'm gonna be honest, my husband doesn't want me to drive like far, far, far. And he doesn't like conchos. He doesn't like motoconchos. The day
No
that I go,
motoconchos. We don't do.
no motoconchos. No, 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 you're not gonna go no motoconcho. No, 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 no. Don't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
try. And I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody goes into a motoconcho, but no, 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 no. And I say, okay, no worries, I will
No
not do it.
worries. Yeah. That's interesting, because most I mean, as North Americans, we um there's something about being here for us, like the flow is
Mhm.
nice. Things are easier or simpler in some ways because the bureaucracy that's experienced in North America for some things is tedious, and um to get things done. But I see what you're saying though, because even, to get a simple door made for our front door, it's a visit and then a follow-up and a follow-up and a follow-up and
Yeah.
then a price. And then it's maybe I'll get the door sometime in a month. Whereas I think we're so used to quick things happening quicker in North America,
Mhm.
whereas here
Yes.
things are a little bit more chill and they don't see the like customer service here for me. Sometimes it lacks in many areas. I was at the grocery store last week and the girl at the cash didn't look at me once, didn't interact with me. Everything was done without having to look at me. And I remember,
Mechanical. It's like
yeah, and
mechanical.
it felt very odd. And I hate to say disrespectful, but it was like the least you could do is say hello to me, or the least you could do is look at me when I'm talking to you, when I'm like,
Mm,
hola, buenas, todo bien, like something. She did nothing.
mm.
Now, either she just didn't care, she was having a bad day. I'm going to chalk it up to she was having a bad day. It's not personal to me. But I could see how, and I don't know, I'd have to take a poll of Dominicans how they feel, but I mean, their home base gets invaded for 6 months, right? So it must be overwhelming to an extent. Listen, I'm an expat and I feel overwhelmed sometimes with all the people that are here, you
Yes,
know?
that happens. That
So,
happens.
and it happens. So,
But
um,
that
yeah,
doesn't mean that I don't know. It means also that sometimes my way of seeing things is that for the locals that are locals born and raised locally there is not the same for the people that you as a local are experiencing being
yeah,
back there. And then
absolutely.
obviously in terms of salaries, in terms of possibilities, it's different for them. So
Yeah,
obviously they have a lot of limitations.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and that might be one of the reasons that
Yeah,
they go like,
absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I think that anyone who is, as long as we're all doing our best, that's what matters. So anybody who's thinking of doing this, so maybe there's a Dominican watching and they want to relocate back to their own country,
who
or
knows?
somebody's watching and they think that this is something that they'd like to try. What is something that you would advise them on, or what advice would you give them?
First of all, I as an even though I'm Dominican, I consider myself an expat because I'm coming
Mm,
home. And I'm
yes.
coming home already with what we call in Spanish, maña. I already have things that are acquired here in the USA. So
Yeah.
obviously I will come with that demand. And
Yes.
now back there, I used to do it like this in 15 minutes and whatever. And then obviously, first of all, have patience and
Yes.
organize yourself, put it into a calendar. And obviously, I'll suggest go for the experience, go visit 1, 2, 3, not only in the DR, everywhere
Yes.
that you go. But for instance, for me, the fact of getting in touch with someone like you, it has
Mm,
been a lot. It has been meant a lot because obviously you have landed me in situations that me as Dominican I never saw. So
Okay.
because you already went through, you passed the information and say, hey, that
Yeah.
no, it's not like this. Oh no, by the time that we met and a few months ago, it was incredible for me that I saw, oh, well, look what Natalie says. Natalie's here. She's like 2 years and she already knows what's La Ciénega, where to buy this cheaper, where this more pricey. And those things count a lot
Yeah.
because you're establishing and you have to lower the expectations because obviously you're not, hello, you're not in Manhattan, you're not in New York. You are in a country that it's being developed, really advanced, whatever you want to call it, but you are in a process with them. You have to grow and go
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
and be local. Be local.
Yeah. I keep
Thank God,
saying that. Yeah. All
be
the time.
local, get involved, get in touch with the owner of the hotel, but get in touch with the people that sells the coconut. Get in touch, get to
Yeah.
learn, be open, but help yourself get help from get assisted by someone that is already there. Don't come long, no, I come with all the dollars and Canadian dollars and I'm gonna do this and that. No, 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 no. You have to get in touch with that
No, no, no,
concierge.
no.
You
I
have to
love
get
it.
in,
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
you have to.
So, um, any last words of wisdom?
um I believe that you have to hear from many people at the same time. Let's say that you're gonna invest, that you're gonna buy your apartment, your house, or you're gonna establish a
Mm-hmm.
business. Go ahead and put it together.
Yeah.
Go and meet this lawyer. Nowadays, everything is done by Zoom. So you can be even in your,
Yeah.
whatever you are, meet
Yeah.
them by Zoom, get credentials, meet the other one too. Go and find their credentials. Go and find them on LinkedIn. Get to see a little bit about their background. When you go and visit, you go ahead and talk to the lady at the supermarket. Do you know X, Y, or Z? Oh, no, I don't know, but he's the cousin of the uncle of the whatever,
Yeah.
and try to put it together. But when doing any major decisions and getting to know, okay, you have all the information now. Get in contact with a professional, get in contact with
Mm.
someone that already did everything, went through everything. So you get straight to the point with less hassle. And it goes everywhere. It goes like when I got into New York, I didn't count with Reuban. I love my husband, but I have to learn it everything from scratch myself with 2 kids. Imagine if you go into a country and you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture. So
Yeah.
you're going to be really stressed out and you're going to be frustrated. That's why you have to get to know people, get to help yourself with a concierge, and investigate, investigate, investigate. That's
Awesome.
it.
Thank you, Miss. Muchas gracias, mi amiga.
Oh my God, yo no puedo con ese español.
Un poco, un poco.
Está bueno, está bueno.
So, if you are looking to relocate, just as my friend Yvette is going to do it's going to be sooner than later, I think, because I know that it's taking its time, but it's coming. Um, you can book a discovery call with me to see if we're a good fit to work together. Otherwise, the other option is to book a consultation call where I can answer all your questions over a 90-minute period, and that will set you on the right foot to your relocation experience. Whatever
That's
you
good.
choose to do, I hope you have an incredible day. Thank you, Yvette, for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to have una cerveza a la playa
Oh my God.
contigo.
Soon, soon, soon. And
Soon,
please
soon,
feel
soon.
free. If anybody has any question, they can
Drop
go
them in the
ahead.
comments. Yeah, drop them in the
Yes,
comments.
because
Awesome.
obviously I know that there are still things that you're gonna say, oh, but why is it? How is it? But I'm
Yeah,
gonna be there for answering. It's okay.
awesome. Thank you so much. So stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye bye. Take it easy.